This seems like an awful lot of work. How realistically do you manage to find the creative space to come up with your art? Then you've got to create your art. Then there's the technical side, and then there's a marketing side. Are you doing this on your own? Do you have other people to support you? What does that look like?
Yeah, it's a nightmare, but it's also the dream. So it's both. We live in a polarity planet where everything's both ends. But yeah, it's really hard. I have been doing mostly by myself for the longest time. Now there's partnerships that are starting to show up that are really amazing. I had good partnerships in the past too. Either a brand that's really cool and that really vibes with what you do and they're willing to cross promote. I like cross promoting a 50-50 split. It doesn't matter how much work I'm doing. If I'm going to work with somebody else using their music or they're animating something for me or I'm making a shirt for them and they're promoting for me, I feel like the split should be fun for everyone and then everybody goes above and beyond, you know? So those are kind of the partnerships I like. Right now, I'm so grateful that like the space has changed so much from the beginning where it was all competition based and now it's very much I call it like cross investing better than cross promoting because we are investing in each other all the time. And I genuinely want everyone I connect with to do well, you know, beyond me and like in their own ways. And so I think that's attracting the same kind of people that have good interests for my brand as well. Because I've attracted plenty of non-good connections before and got burnt a lot. Now I am in the process of revamping and I'm putting together a pitch for a couple investors, have had some really good meetings and I'm basically locking in some budget to have a serious marketing campaign for the next 2 years. I am looking to hire a CFO, CEO, like some version of that. I think I can start small, basically get some type of lawyer and some type of assistant. Those are the two roles that I'm going to be populating first because it is crazy. And what this does, like doing everything, right? Being an entrepreneur and wearing every hat from CFO to CMO to, you know, like lawyer to all the things, it forces you to understand your workflow. And that has been so amazing and useful for me in life in general. So what I've noticed is that I have about 4 months where I am creating with my hands. Like I like to paint and I like mixed media stuff. And the mixed media stuff, yeah, it's like 2 to 4 months. But then I go into this lull when I want to travel because I'm tired of being in the same space. I'm very nomadic. So when I travel, I mostly just draw. I don't really bring like all of these things and the mixed media stuff. So I just draw and go into like poetry and content creation. So I've learned to write my blogs and the content for marketing and stuff like that in those months while I'm drawing. And then I've learned that in the months that I'm hyper creative with my hands, I don't need to do anything about marketing because my brain is just not there. And I need to channel those like 17 hours a day of obsession creating a piece like these ones behind me, these big resin pieces in the back. I need to channel that and just stay awake and paint through the night, whatever needs to happen. Then some of the things overlap a little bit, but then also from feeling your waves of productivity, you'll feel your waves of down and like lulls and what you need to do to avoid those. So for example, right now I've been mostly marketing and promoting a ton and I've gotten pretty burnt out. So I decided to stop that and give myself 2 weeks to not do that and have some of these talks that are more fun and interactive and also set goals for myself. Like, okay, I have the Bitcoin conference coming up in 3 weeks. I need to finish contracts and law, like just insanity things I don't want to deal with. But after that, I get to hang out with people in person. It's going to be fun. I get to sell some stuff and then I come back and I'm going to paint. So I'm promising myself that in a month from now, I'm going to go back to like creating with my hands. But you do have to kind of like gently nudge yourself into the waves that you know how you work. Otherwise, everything will go out of balance. You know, you can't be marketing all the time. You can't be painting all the time. But yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Like I wanted to be a full-time artist. I never wanted to be a CMO like in my life, you know?
Mm.
So once you realize that, you're like, okay, how do I go back to being the artist? Because otherwise you created this whole dream and then you're trapped in a role that you hate. And it's like, I've been trapped in that role for like 5 years and struggling with that. Do I quit? Because, you know, in the early days, you don't have the capital to delegate that and you have to do it. So do you love what you do enough to do these 6 roles that you hate for a while until you can cross back over to doing the thing you love? Most people don't have that commitment. And it does take like 10 to 15 years to build something sustainable. Like everyone would tell me that. And I'd be like, I'm on year 3. Like I put so much work. Why is shit not happening? Now in year 6, now the team is showing up. Like now the capital is showing up, you know?
Mm.
So it's been real humbling.
And talking about the capital and the waves, thank you so much for sharing that of using the energy when it comes to you and being as productive in those moments as you can. Talk to us about the various income streams that you've got coming in and what you've set up.
Yeah, so I have about 9 right now, which is fun because all these things I've been developing for a long time. So some of the main ones, I have a crypto clothing and like a graffiti swag kind of clothing. Every single painting that I have, or not every single one, but most of the paintings I have, I turn into fabric and I make that into clothing. For me, for the type of art I make, it makes sense to extend it into every single technology outlet. For you, it might as well, or it might not. But for me, I go from painting a physical piece to making a video of that, making that video an NFT, using that NFT video to augmented reality enable my piece. So that's like all full circle, right? Like I work really hard on making the art, on making the video, the edits, but then I use that same video that is NFT to make the physical piece augmented reality. So now I have a video I worked on for a while that has 2 purposes, right? That gives value to my art from 2 different angles. Then I take a still photo of that same painting and I turn that into fabric and I sell that as clothing. So that's a third, right? Like I sell the physical painting that is AR enabled. I sell the NFT, that's 2. I sell the clothing, that's 3. Then I can sell prints, for example, that's 4. And I can make all of those collectibles. So if you own the painting, you might want to own the leggings and you might want to own the actual print and you might want to own the NFT. And then if you only have the NFT, you might want to like flaunt that and be excited that you have the only original, because everybody else that has any physical stuff that is not connected to the NFT is not actually the original. And those conversations are fun to have because maybe another person doesn't really care and they just want to have the leggings. So that's 4 right there. Courses is definitely a 5th. I've been allergic and resistant to courses. I've written like 5 or 6 in my notebooks and I've never been able to get one done until recently. An amazing old friend who has an amazing podcast decided to produce it. And so a lot of these things need to plug into the right team. And it's taken me 3.5 years to put out my first course ever. I have them in my journal. I've never been able to push it until this NFT course. That's the right time. That's the 5th one, right? So fine art, clothing, NFTs, print, courses. I write books as well. So I have 3 books out there. I like writing short guides. And this is one of those where I could be making so much money. And this is what I say to people, come exploit my brand with me. Can we please make money together? Like I'm leaving so much money on the table because I literally don't have time to sit down and write a 30-page or like a 15-page guide that I know would sell so easily, that it's like accessible for everyone because it could be $20. Anyway, I'm optimizing that channel a bit more. The other one is public speaking. I'm going into schools and corporations and places and bringing information there. Those subsidize or those kind of pay for the ones that I do for free or that I do for the community. So that's 7, right? 8, I do workshops that are interactive. I do them online, but also in person. And these are like creative flow shops to help you hack back into your creativity mode. So I teach anyone how to freestyle rap in 20 minutes or how to get back into your inner child creativity. And these things seem so silly, but they're actually very freeing, liberating, and healing. So I love doing that work. So that's 8. And then 9, I guess I have a healing arts part of my company as well, where I channel poems, I channel symbols for people, help them get in touch with like blockages in their body. But there's millions of things we can do for Rev. And right now, I guess the easiest ones to optimize are to market the online shop more, the NFTs, the fine art, and the public speaking. But everybody can create like at least 4. I could see at least 4 for anyone, a photographer, a coach. Like there's at least 4 ways you can monetize. I mean, there's YouTube, right? Like I'm 200 people away from being able to monetize my YouTube channel that has gotten not so much love until recently. So that's another one. There's infinite opportunities. I mean, I could send my prints to Target and try to get royalties from like one t-shirt that I sell millions of in Target. Like there's just millions of ways, but it's a good idea to find like at least 4 that you can monetize and cross promote.
Thank you so much for that. I have 2 more questions for you, and then I'm going to pass it over to the audience to be able to have a chance to ask their questions, because I know that there's a number in the chat there. Question number 1, can you be a little bit more clear for anyone who's listening who says, actually, I would like to be able to work with Nanu. I recognize her vision. I appreciate who she is. She's put a lot of work in. This is something that I'm very excited about. What are the roles? What are the partnerships that you're looking for with regards to that?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm definitely looking for an assistant type person that is excited about learning everything. When I start working with people, even in collaborations with art, what they say back to me is, because I always say, I'm sorry, I'm such a hard ass, because I'm like on top of deadlines and I'm doing like 10 million things at once. And it's a lot. And at the same time, the feedback is, hey, I've learned so much. Like, you're a master marketer, and I feel like I just went through a marketing course and now I can see everything I didn't see before. So I know that the value in just like learning, being in the depth, in the trenches of any brand is going to bring you a lot of value. So I'm looking for somebody who genuinely cares and genuinely wants to learn. I've done a lot of trial and errors, and if it's just for money, it's not going to work. And if it's just for the brand, it's not going to work. So it has to be a combination. And I'm looking for a marketing plugin, whether that is a big company that wants to market this, or whether it is a couple people, like a social media person that knows their stuff, analytics person, marketing person that knows their stuff. And I'm looking for collaborators that want to start with a really big revenue split. I'm finishing up my pitches to lock in some hefty marketing budget, and I also plan on hiring people as well. But I'm open to collaborating with people and see where it goes. Everybody that I've collaborated with, I'm still friends, and we've all made money and we've all continued to grow together. So I just like long-term friendships. It's just better.
Wonderful. And my last question before we turn it over to the audience is, you've mentioned that you need to get another 200 subscribers to your YouTube channel, and then you can monetize it. Please tell us the different ways that we can support you, and thank you for the fantastic information that you've been sharing with us on this conversation.
Thank you so much. I so appreciate that. I think you need to be at 1,000 YouTube followers to be able to monetize. I used to post all sorts of stuff there, and then I kind of hit some videos and pulled back, and now I'm going to start putting, like, this talk will go on it. My idea is, like, once I do reach monetization, I will be doing weekly, like, best tips and best practices. This is the reason that I want a team, because if I have the time to take all these questions and do weekly or bi-weekly bits, 15 minutes or something, it's going to be helpful, I really want to do that. Sharing my Instagram post and sharing the Twitter, any outlets that you have that you want to connect with me there and share those posts. My biggest hindering, I guess, my biggest roadblocks is, one, that I started posting about crypto really early on. So I got shadow banned by my Twitter, my YouTube, all my channels got shadow banned. This means that people don't really see my content unless they search for it. And the other one is that, as one of the early co-founders of the crypto art space, unfortunately, we worked for free, a lot of us, helping a lot of these platforms become what they are. And then they get funding and they forget about the people who help build. So I'm actually not even allowed or invited or a part of a lot of the NFT platforms that I help build. And I have talked to the co-founders and stuff, and everybody gives me some version of, like, I don't know, I'm tired, I don't want to deal with this. And I get it, because, like, that's why I'm not angry, and there's no shade. It's a lot to handle. And if you're pioneering and disrupting the economic system or any system, and you want to do a decentralized platform that also monetizes, that is so difficult to do. And they were also doing 6 roles, like I was doing 6 roles. For me, integrity is first. And if somebody helped you build and you told them that instead of paying them their consultation fee, you were going to have their back when the platform was big, if it was me, I would have followed out with my word. But not everyone follows up with their word. That's why contracts are so important. I'm learning that. But anything sharing with, like, a reason, right? Like, oh, this is one of the people who helped this movement, this is why we should uplift them. Because when I share for other people, unless I explain why I give a shit about this person, it's not really, like, relevant, right? So it's just like sharing from a genuine place. If it resonates with you, like, the energy follows energy. So I really believe that.
Wonderful.